Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review. This review is for Baddies USA Chapter 2, Episode 10. So let's just get right into it because this episode was crazy. So at the very beginning of this episode, the baddies are finally leaving Arizona to head to Vegas, and I don't understand why they keep putting the same girls on the bus together to ride to the next city, but they put the same girls on the bus together again, and I don't know why, because it was pure chaos the last time they were all on the bus together. Pressure was getting whooped every which way, and now they put them all on the bus together again, and more chaos ensues. Because Sirach and Ivori were literally talking about Pressure and how they knew she was going to get on the bus and start trouble and be on a 10. And as soon as she walked on the bus, that's exactly what ended up happening. Because as soon as Pressure got on the bus, she walked up on Diamond and she started swinging on her. And Ivori just swung on Pressure from behind. And I was like, damn, Pressure is really with the shits. Like every single episode, Pressure is going to take advantage of any camera time she can get. And she's going to fight anytime she's in the same room as her ops. I understand that Pressure and Diamond have beef with each other because Diamond got involved in Pressure's fight that she was having with Ivori at the beginning of the season. However, after Pressure snuck Diamond a few episodes back and Diamond just let her have it, I thought the beef between the two of them was over, but I guess not. Now, after Security breaks up the fight, Security is trying to hold back both Diamond and Ivori from getting to Pressure. And while Diamond is trying to swing over Security to get at Pressure, Pressure decides that it was okay for her to spit at Diamond, which was disgusting, especially because she's doing it on this small, cramped up bus where anybody could have gotten hit with the spit. I just think it's nasty and I don't agree with the spitting shit, but they were definitely trying to get at Pressure, especially after that. I didn't like that Teetee was trying to get on the bus though and Security would not let her through. I understand they were trying to defuse the situation, but if you have Pressure on the bus and she's going at it with both Ivori and Diamond, I feel like it was only fair to let Teetee on the bus so that Pressure would not be outnumbered. So Pressure and Teetee are outside and Pressure is calling out Diamond and Ivori to come out there so that they can fight, and Ivori's telling Security to allow Diamond to go outside so that she can fight Pressure, but Ivori's trying to go outside too, and Security is not trying to let that happen, but Ivori says that she needs to be by Diamond's side so that she can coach her through her fight. I don't really feel like Diamond needs to be coached through a fight with Pressure because both Pressure and Diamond to me fight the same. Neither one of them can fight because when they finally let Diamond outside and her and Pressure were fighting, to me there was no winner. Even when you slow it down in slow motion, nobody won that fight. Ivori did keep taking little digs at Teetee though because Teetee was trying to get loose from Security the whole time and she kept saying that Teetee's not on that and Teetee's not going to do anything, and I think she underestimated Teetee because of how small she is. But not Diamond picking up what she thought was Pressure's phone and slamming it on the floor. I actually do think that it was Pressure's phone that she slammed down on the ground, but I don't think that it broke because of the case that she was using. But I think it's crazy that she did that to that girl's phone and nobody said anything about it. And while Teetee and Ivori are going back and forth with each other and they're both being held back by Security, both Pressure and Diamond fight again, and I'm sorry, Security was in the way, but even if Security wasn't in the way, neither one of them would have done any damage in this fight. Honestly, I was laughing watching them fight each other because they both can't fight, and I don't take them seriously because they both troll too much. But Security decides to let all four of them back on this small ass bus so that they can try to fight each other again, because that's exactly what ended up happening. All four of them are going back and forth with each other, and Diamond takes a water bottle and she chucks it at Pressure, so water gets everywhere. So Diamond and Pressure start fighting again on the bus, and after that fight was broken up, Diamond tries to swing at Teetee, so Teetee swings back, and that's when Ivori ends up getting involved, and the two of them are trying to fight each other, but they couldn't because Security would not let them fight, which was really pissing off Ivori because Ivori was going off at Security the entire first half of this episode. But then Ivori and Pressure start fighting with each other on the bus, and Diamond jumps in, so Teetee tries to get in there and swing on Diamond, but Security won't let her, which I didn't really like because if you see it's 2-on-1, why won't you let her friend go so that her friend can have her back? But I guess that was enough for Ivori to get pissed off at Teetee, so she starts calling Teetee out for a fight, telling Teetee that she was going to hit her if she tried to run up, but that did not stop Teetee because Teetee was still trying to get at Ivori. But Pressure and Ivori start fighting again, and honestly I was tired of seeing Pressure and Ivori fight. I was ready to see Ivori and Teetee go at it since the two of them have been going back and forth this entire time. So when the fight between Ivori and Pressure gets broken up, Ivori ends up calling out Teetee for a fight, so Teetee jumps down and she runs at Ivori and she swings on her, and the two of them start fighting, and honestly Teetee was getting in there with Ivori. I'm just saying, you'd think that it wouldn't go that way because Ivori is a lot bigger than Teetee and I think she is a more skilled fighter than Teetee is, but Teetee was getting in there with Ivory. Ivory was not able to overpower Teetee at all. I'm not gonna say that Teetee whooped Ivory like some other people are saying, because she didn't whoop her, but she definitely got in there with her, and I think she had Ivory's mouth bleeding a little bit. So Teetee didn't necessarily win to me, but she didn't lose either. And honestly, I think that Ivory was gagged a little bit that Teetee was able to get in there with her, because she definitely wanted to fight Teetee again. And we know that when Ivory doesn't win a fight the way that she wants to, she'll definitely keep trying to fight you again. But when they were in the middle of fighting, you know, Teetee was getting her hair pulled by Ivory, and Ivory would not let go. And I remember seeing Hurricane M trying to pull them apart from each other. And Diamond was over there trying to grab Hurricane M. So there was a push and pull situation with them, and Diamond swings at Hurricane M, and I'm thinking the two of them are going to start fighting with each other. In the middle of the fight, though, you can hear Teetee saying that Ivory was biting her, and I think if you have to bite in a fight, I think it's because you weren't winning the way that you wanted to. I'm not saying that Ivory lost, because I don't think that either one of them won the fight or lost the fight. I just think that they both kept up with each other, and Teetee was able to really get in there. Ivory was trying to call Teetee out for another fight, but Teetee said that she was not fighting again until she got her bonnet on her head, because she was saying that they were pulling out her hair. And while Ivory is trying to get Teetee to come down so that they can fight, you have Pressure behind her trying to throw things at her and trying to swing at her, and I'm like, Pressure is just a mess. But Teetee is holding on to these hooks on the ceiling, and she takes both of her legs and she swings from the ceiling, and she reaches her legs over to kick Diamond. And I guess she almost kicked Tavy, but she didn't actually touch Tavy, because when I slowed it down, I didn't see Tavy get touched. But Tavy starts swinging on Teetee, fighting her, and all of a sudden, Ciroc comes over there and she starts swinging on Teetee too, and she pops Teetee so hard in the eye that Teetee starts bleeding from her face. And I think that's crazy, because why the hell did the two of them jump that girl? I mean, I know Tavy's intentions wasn't to jump her because she was fighting her first and then Ciroc jumped in, but the fact that these two big ass girls jumped this small ass girl to me was crazy. Because let that would have been Lex or Dolly, everybody would have had something to say about it. It's crazy to me that those two are not getting any backlash from this episode, but Lex is getting all the backlash from this episode. Now, Ivory does end up getting off the bus and fighting another round with Pressure, and after she fights that round, she goes into the back of the bus to wrap her hand up because she said that she hurt her hand, and then Diamond goes outside and she fights another round with Pressure too, and then they finally get the girls on the bus and separate them. They have Pressure and Teetee in a car driving to Vegas, and then they have the rest of the girls on the bus going to Vegas. But what's crazy is, as Diamond's getting back on the bus after fighting Pressure, Amber is standing by the stairs, and all of a sudden Diamond just turns around and backhands the hell out of Amber. And at first I was confused because I didn't know that they had an issue with each other, but Diamond got in her confessional and said that when they were filming another show together, Amber had snuck her, and that's the reason why she got her back. So Amber and Diamond start fighting with each other, and honestly, it looked like Amber was working Diamond in this fight. But while Amber and Diamond are in the middle of fighting, E.T. comes out of nowhere and she snatches up Amber from behind and she starts beating her down on that bus. And I was like, what the hell is E.T. doing? I mean, I understand that she needed her get back on Amber after Amber snuck her when she had Mace in her eyes, but I feel like there was plenty of opportunity for her to fight Amber outside of this situation. She did not have to wait for somebody else to be fighting Amber for her to finally get in there and fight Amber too. But the baddies finally end up getting to Vegas after wasting all of that time fighting with each other, and the next day when they're in Vegas, Natalie meets with both Fauna and Cold Killer and they catch her up on everything that's been going on. But a message ends up going across the screen and it says that when the cameras were not rolling and the girls were in their hotel rooms, I guess Pressure ended up confronting Hurricane M about not having Teetee's back when she was getting jumped on the bus, and so they started going back and forth with each other, and Pressure and Hurricane M start fighting with each other. I think they fought like 3 rounds. Big Lex can hear from her hotel all the fighting going on, so she runs over there and she breaks it up. So Lex is in the room with Teetee and Pressure trying to figure out what's going on, and Teetee says that she's not cool with Hurricane M anymore because the way that Hurricane M was fighting Pressure is the way she felt like Hurricane M should have been fighting those girls on the bus when she was being jumped. And I understand why Teetee feels some type of way, because Hurricane M could have done a lot more than what she did on that bus. I mean, Teetee was fighting more than one person. Yes, Hurricane M was over there breaking it up, but I think that she wanted to see her friend get in there and fight for her, and that's not what happened. I'm not going to sit here and say that Hurricane M didn't do anything, because we did see her try to break up the fight when Ivory was holding on to Teetee's hair, and then we did see her try to break up the fight when Ciroc and Tavy were jumping Teetee. But if it was me in that situation, I'm sorry, I would have had to swing. I would have had to fight for my friend. I'm not going to talk about the whole racetrack thing with Tommy, Treve, and Summer and them taking some of the girls to the racetrack so that they can ride around a little bit. I don't feel like anything was significant in that portion. But the baddies end up going ATV riding with Natalie, and honestly, it looked like they were having a good time, and all of them did a really good job except for Persuasion. She's the only girl that ended up falling off the ATV, even though the rest of the girls had to go down the same hill she did. But she said that she was okay because she said that the ass shot she got protected her from breaking something. So after they finish ATV riding, Natalie ends up asking them what's been going on, and that's when Lex kind of ends up confronting Tavy because Lex is friends with Teetee, and Teetee told her that she got jumped by both Ciroc and Tavy on the bus, and Tavy started saying that she did not jump Teetee, and it's like she did jump Teetee though. I mean, she didn't intend to jump Teetee, that was not her intention. She was fighting Teetee, and then Ciroc jumped in, but as soon as Ciroc got involved, that's when Tavy should have took herself out of it, and she didn't. So technically, Tavy and Ciroc did jump Teetee. But then E.T. gets involved and she starts saying that Teetee set up Hurricane M to get beat up by Pressure, and Lex said that that's not what happened because she was there when the whole thing went down. So Natalie ends up FaceTiming Hurricane M, and she ends up asking her if Teetee ended their friendship because she didn't jump in her fights on the bus, and Hurricane M said it was true. Teetee is not messing with her because she didn't jump in her fights on the bus, but Hurricane M makes it clear that she's not inheriting anybody else's beefs, and she feels like Teetee is inheriting all of Pressure's beefs. And I can see where she's coming from. It does feel like Teetee is involving herself in all of Pressure's beef, but she's only getting involved when she sees Pressure getting jumped, or it's more than one person going at Pressure at once. That's when she gets involved. So I feel like, she's just having Pressure's back, but if you're going to be friends with Pressure, you're going to have to be beefing with everybody because Pressure is damn near beefing with everybody on the cast. But I still don't think that justifies her not getting involved when Tavy and Ciroc were jumping Teetee, because at the end of the day, that didn't have anything to do with Pressure. That was them jumping Teetee, and I feel like that's when she could have gotten involved. Not when it had anything to do with Pressure, but when it had something to do with Teetee. So then Natalie starts asking what happened between Lex and Fania at the hookah lounge, and Fania starts saying that Lex tried to fight her because she ended up admitting to using Mace on her hands when they fought. And Lex starts going off. She starts saying that she ended up asking Fania off camera on some cool shit if she used Mace on her hands when they fought, and Fania said that she didn't. So when Fania decided to admit it on camera, that's when she got pissed off, because at this point, everybody's been saying that Lex was lying about the Mace and coming at her on social media about it, and then Fania finally decides late to admit to it. So they're going back and forth with each other, and Lex just spits right on Fania's face. Like, it lands right on Fania's edges, and it looked disgusting. I mean, it was just sitting there on her face, and I'm like, oh, Lex, no, like, why did you do that? Like, I feel like Lex is above this, and I just wish she wouldn't have spit. But Fania's walking up on Lex like she's about to fight, so Lex is preparing herself to have to fight, and all of a sudden, Fania leans down and she picks up this big-ass rock off the ground, and she's attempting to throw it at Lex. So Lex starts running, because who's gonna let themselves get hit in the face with a rock? So Lex starts running. Security ends up getting the rock out of Fania's hand, and everybody's going off. It's crazy. Natalie's saying that they need to go because they're snakes and all that, and it's like, it's crazy. Honestly, I don't like that Lex spit. I don't like when any of the girls spit. Anytime the girls have spit on this show, I have said in my reviews that I do not agree with that. However, the level of backlash that Lex is getting for spitting on Fania is crazy, because none of the other girls on this show that have spit, and there's been a lot of them, including Fania, who spit on Tavy, none of them have gotten the level of backlash that Lex has been getting from this episode. I don't think that Lex should have spit on Fania, but Fania is not above spitting, because we know that she spit on Tavy and nobody gave her the amount of backlash that Lex is getting, and I think that's crazy. I think the fans really pick and choose. If they like you, they're gonna give you a pass on anything that you do on the show, but if somebody they don't like Lex, does the same thing somebody else does on the show, she'll get dragged for it, but the other people won't. Because everybody's going on and on about this spit, and I understand it was nasty. Lex's spit actually landed. The other girls who have spit, yeah, it got on their face, but not the way that Lex got on Fania. But there was plenty of other people in this episode that deserved some type of backlash, and they did not get it. Ciroc and Tavy deserved backlash for jumping Teetee, especially Ciroc, because she had no business even getting involved in that fight to begin with. Diamond could have gotten some type of backlash for taking Pressure's phone and slamming it on the ground the way that she did, but nobody's saying anything about that. E.T. snatching up Amber and jumping her and stomping her out the way that she did in this episode, she should have gotten some backlash for that, and she didn't get any. So I'm not taking this backlash that Lex is getting seriously, because the only reason why people are coming at her is because it's her. If it was anybody else that they liked that would have did that to Fana, they wouldn't have said anything, because we've seen other girls on the show spit and they did not get this kind of backlash. So just like a lot of the fans say that the girls on the show pick and choose when it comes to fighting, the fans pick and choose what they're going to be outraged about based on which girl does it. If it's a girl they like that does it, she gets a pass. If it's a girl they don't like that does it, she gets dragged. But those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies USA. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video.